Hello everybody, welcome back to Josh Gets Lost. This week we are embarking on a journey into the Nether. Ooh. The Nether, for those of you who don't know, is another dimension of Minecraft. We have already seen it being hinted at as we've played when we came across some of those ruined portals that were out there in the world, suggesting the existence of another dimension that we could travel to and perhaps find more things in this game and unlock the deep, dark mysteries. So that's what we're doing today. All right, we're going to be heading down. I'm going to get a piece of gold armor. I believe I'm going for a helmet. Let's see. I believe I found a helmet. I have a gold helmet with fire protection 1. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to take our spyglass. I'm going to get geared up here. Make sure I have enough food, make sure I have blocks, appropriate tools, and make sure I have, probably go work on getting a slightly better golden helmet there for this trip, because golden helmets are very, very important for visiting the Nether. So I'm going to work on that. Be right back. All right, we now have a protection 4 golden helmet. Unfortunately, gold usually doesn't last long, so maybe in the future we'll be able to add a little bit more to that with maybe something like unbreaking and the mending enchantment. But for now, this should do. Now, the real question here is where to put our Nether portal. 0, would be a convenient spot, but it's kind of right over there. Plus, I don't really want it messing up exactly when you spawn into the world, or if I die without a bed set. I don't really want to go through any of that, so I kind of don't want it over there. Plus, I like my house being quiet and peaceful, and Nether portals are kind of notoriously noisy. So let's think. Maybe over here. We in fact actually have this spot, which I haven't really known what to do with before now. I'm going to use my Silk Touch pickaxe here and make a little space for this. I think this will be a great spot for this portal. And we can just put it right in here. Now we will need at least 14 blocks of obsidian here for this portal. You'll see why here in a second. Basically, the smallest portal you can make is a 3 high, 2 wide entrance, which means we want to go at least 5 up and at least 4 across. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can actually cut the corners on these if you wanted, but since this is our first Nether portal of the world, I thought we would, you know, just kind of make it look a little nicer in here. There we go. And we'll even hide the frame a bit. Now let's make sure to add a little bit more. It looks like we have lots of light. Just a little bit more light there, just in case we do happen to respawn. Let's set our spawn right over here in our old spot. We don't actually need to take the bed into the Nether. That will actually be a huge mistake. It's a long story, but basically the game, when it wants to respawn you after death, looks for the place where you have set your spawn on a bed. If it can't find that, it will send you back over to the spawn point of the world. But if you die in the Nether, it doesn't want to try to respawn you in the Nether. And so beds do not work there. And in fact, if you right click on a bed in the Nether, it will explode. Now, some people actually exploit this to basically use beds as bombs for mining parts of the Nether through explosion. That's a pretty fun way to do it. If you do die in that way, it will say that you have died by intentional game design because they designed it to not be able to respawn in the Nether. Now, there is another newer function that has been added over the years that actually will allow you to respawn in the Nether. In fact, if you watch my other series, the Basement Craft Season 4, which was one of the last series I worked on before this one, we actually spent the first bit of the season with a spawn in the Nether and started there before ever coming over to this overworld. So that is definitely something you should check out if you're interested on what that might look like. Kind of drove me insane, but there it is. All right, so we've got our portal, and we will light this portal with a flint and steel. There we go. Now, I do want to kind of be ready when I go in. Sometimes things can be a little dicey there when you spawn in. You don't exactly know which biome you're going to be going into, and it could be very dangerous from the get-go. Let me actually give us a little bit of a roof here. There we go. So that way I know when we come out, we'll be somewhat safe. I am taking this in because there might be things I see that I want to look through with my spyglass. So here we go. Now this is the first time we have entered the Nether. We have received the advancement. We need to go deeper. And as far as Nether spawns go, I'm going to take a quick screenshot here of where my portal is. I knew we'd be pretty close to 0. The way the coordinates work in the Nether is basically your overworld coordinate that matches up to this is your overworld coordinate divided by 8. So right here is going to be -7 and 3, which means we were about -42. I mean -56 and 16 or 24. I mean, so that kind of shows you how close to 0 are. So we can kind of look at this. This is a warped forest. And a few things to note in this warped forest. One is the presence of these different types of plants, which we do not have in the overworld. This is a warped fungus and warped roots. And these tree-looking things are actually also funguses. They are grown from those warped roots down there, warped fungus, I should say. They act a lot like trees, with the exception that they cannot be burned, which is pretty cool. The other exception is, because they're not officially trees, these canopies around them are actually made. Let's see if we can cut this one down. I did not bring a hoe with me, which is the best tool for this. A warped warp block. These actually are sort of treated not like leaves, so they will actually not decay if you cut down your the logs sort of beneath this. So, but this is definitely a great type of wood to get, and the best way to get that is you can grow it by collecting these warped fungus and then growing them even in the overworld on this block right here. So we brought our Silk Touch pickaxe, which is very helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and grab one of these. You can see some of these blocks break really fast in the Nether. This is warped nylium, and you actually need this for being able to grow warped root, this beautiful kind of bluish green block in the overworld. And then this completely red block here is netherrack, which is sort of the default block of the Nether. It is the dirt or the stone of the Nether. I guess really more the dirt, because you can't craft tools or anything out of it. And there you see we have a roof. The Nether is unique from the overworld in that there is a roof above it. At a certain point, usually around I think 127, 130, there is a roof made of bedrock. Now on Java Edition, you can actually not only go through that roof through some glitches, you can actually build above it and sort of use it as a mob-free place to create some really cool isolated farms. So we'll definitely be headed up there in the future. It also contains different things like those white blocks I keep staring at, which is quartz. And that is something that I really, really want, because it is a component that you can use in redstone. Let's see if I can get this. There we go, shroom lights. Those are a great square light block. That's pretty easy to get. So there we have it. Now I wanted to create this little space, although I did it completely wrong here, with a canopy of 1, because there are mobs in the Nether, but this is one of the safer biomes. There's only one mob that appears here, and we got a brief glimpse of one way up above us. I don't see anything anymore, but that is the Enderman. Endermen actually will spawn in this biome. Even though they are not originally from the Nether, this sort of has become their domain. And so one of the ways to get Ender Pearls, which is a key item for progressing in the game, is to head down here and begin to hunt Endermen. There are a few other ways you can get them But there we go. All right. I do not like the noises here. Let's make a staircase. I'm going to actually grab my cobblestone here. Now, it's helpful to put some landmarks here because the Nether can at times be very indistinguishable. There's not a lot of like completely wide open spaces sometimes. And I'm going to put these cobblestone here because cobblestone does not naturally occur in the Nether. And that will, when I see cobblestone, I will know that it is something that I have placed. And speaking of, let's look at him. Get in here. Come here, buddy. Looks like he is holding a warped fungus, which is not the greatest. If you don't have Silk Touch, sometimes these guys will actually carry around the warped nylium blocks. And that's a good way to get those. There we go. We got another ender pearl for our collection. And so you can get those more unobtainable blocks that way. Let's see if we can work our way up here on the hill. Maybe there's more of an opening up here. Or maybe not. Now this guy I do not want to look at because I don't have a safe spot to hide from him. So you want to look for 2 block gaps to hide from those Endermen. And this is why people don't like coming into the Nether. There are sudden cliffs, there are drops, and there are lava pits everywhere. Basically, lava is the water of the Nether. Instead of rivers and lakes of water, you will find little pockets and lakes of lava, which is not as friendly to swim in. In fact, it will not only kill you, it will burn all your stuff. I do see there some wonderful blocks I want to check out. And these are gold blocks from the Nether. Now you do have to be careful in some biomes mining these. There is another creature that we have not met yet called a piglin. And the reason why we wore gold into as part of our armor, I even brought some here just to hold in case something happened to our gold, is if they see you mining or messing with gold, they will feel threatened and try to kill you. So definitely something to be aware of as you do that. All right, we are back up above our another portal. Let's, I have not really seen much here. So let me continue to explore and I will point out things as I see them later. Looks like we got even just a river of lava flowing here for no reason. I feel like we're just kind of trapped in a weird pocket of the Nether, which will make exploring kind of interesting. Sometimes you're in completely wide open spaces, and other times you are sort of in these pocket, almost cave-like things in the Nether. So let's pause and I will... All right, and we have found us some Nether quartz. Now there's a couple ways you can do this. You can actually mine this with Silk Touch or with Fortune. It's preferable to me often to mine them with Silk Touch when I can, because they are much easier to transport here in the ore form than in the broken down form. But that was a scary noise. But you can also mine them with Fortune, and if you mine them with Fortune, you will get experience, whether Fortune or a basic pickaxe. You will get experience, and you can also, once you get mending, you can sometimes use those to repair your tools even while you're down here in the Nether getting through it. You can use that. You have to be a little careful sometimes mining in the Nether, because not only are there Endermen there just trying to get you to look at them, but what if above here is lava? That presents a challenge that you want to make sure to avoid. All right, we got ourselves 7 blocks now of that quartz, which is very nice. Let's see, there's a little bit of an opening here. Is there anything through here besides our Enderman buddies? Doesn't really look like it. Must have just been a shroom light. All right, let's continue to explore and see. All right, we found here one of the more interesting parts of the warped forest. These vines, which have a weird kind of 3D effect, these twisting vines, but you can actually grow them up and you can use them to climb just like you would vines in the overworld. But unlike vines in the overworld, they don't have to be connected to anything above, so they can just grow straight from the ground and can kind of function as a ladder in that way. Let's see if we're just going to continue looking, gathering some of this quartz. The Enderman is trying to get me to look at him, but I'm not gonna. I'm not falling for it. Here we have another type of fungus that can be found in the Nether. This is the crimson fungus. This is usually part of the crimson forest biome, which is a much deadlier place to spawn, but you can grow the trees from there with this as well. And they have a very sort of magenta, hot pink kind of look to them. So that may be something we use in the future if we want to make some houses that look like they're painted. They also might pair well with that cherry wood that we have as kind of a gradient of pink. So something to keep in mind. All right, I have been heading in the northern direction from our portal and climbed a bit, thought maybe we were going to find an opening, but have not found anything really open from this area. From there, we're going to try a couple other directions, but it looks like we may end up traveling through the Nether, maybe setting up a little bit of a tunnel system. It's a little easier to control where the mobs are, as well as being able to move quickly and making sure you're safe from things like lava. So we will check out this way and then see what we can do. Here is above us the glowstone that we bought from the Wandering Trader. You can mine this with Silk Touch, or you can use Fortune. If you use Fortune, it will turn into glowstone dust, which will take quite a bit to remake one of these glowstone lamps. But it can be used in potions and things as the dust form. So let's see, is there anything I can get rid of that I don't absolutely need at this point? I kind of want to take a little bit of all of this home. Netherrack I'm going to just keep. All right, we're going to get rid of the stone. Sorry, stone. I can get more of you back home. All right. Let's see, we are continuing to head south back towards our portal. Hello, Enderman. You can see them carrying their various things. So are we getting farther or closer from where our portal is? See how easy it is to get lost in here, and I have not really even traveled that far as you look at the Coords from where we started. I feel like I might have stared at that guy. At 0. This way. They are just lining up here. You know what? Let's have a little fun. You can see them carrying the different objects. They do pack quite a punch, so being back here in the too high is definitely the way you want to go with this. Got only one ender pearl out of that, so a little disappointing. Alright, I'm heading back the wrong way again. Let's continue this way. Looking for, there we go. Looking for some of that cobblestone to lead us home. Looks like we have a pretty full inventory though, so I'm gonna head back out and dump some of this stuff off here in just a second. So I came over here to the west and was actually just mining some quartz. And it looks like I have found an area where it does open up quite a bit. So maybe we'll kind of head west and north out this path. I'm gonna make a little spot here to kind of tell. There we go, get that glowstone I was in here for. Let's make a little, I'll put a spot here, but I'll know that this is where I came in for this area. We'll have to kind of bridge our way down and over probably, but Looks like there's a bit more opening. Maybe we'll see more of the biomes. It looks like actually I can see another biome right there in the distance. Where is my spyglass? Won't actually, it's not actually the reason I brought it, but there you can see that is basalt, which means there is a basalt delta with some blackstone right over there, and maybe even some nether waste. Looks like I see some red up there with a zombified piglin. So we will go and put our stuff away and head back here in the future. All right, and so just to give you a little bit of perspective here, as we are back at our spot, came back up from here. So that is the direction towards that opening that we saw. We may want to head. Let's head back home though. Now when we get back in the other side, I'm not sure what time of day it will be. If it's night, we may be in a race to sleep. Does not look like it though. We are safe at last at home. And there we go. All right, awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna maybe start a new chest to start sorting out some of this nether stuff. And then we're gonna venture back in here for another go and investigate that basalt delta that we saw and see what other biomes may be there in the nether. So one thing that we're going to do is we're going to smelt these gold ore. For one thing, we don't have Fortune 3 on a pick, which is the best way to get the most out of these. But typically, and statistically speaking, you will get more gold back from each of these blocks if you smelt them as ore than if you mine them as even with Fortune 3. So that's something to be aware of. Let's toss those in there. Do I have any buckets ready to go? I do not. So let's get those in there. We will smelt, and you will see that each of these will give us an entire ingot of gold, as opposed to if we fortune them, we would get somewhere between, I think, 5 or 6 and 11 with Fortune 3, and there's a good chance that we would not get the 9 required to equal that amount. So basically, statistically speaking, it's better to smelt that most of the time. The quartz we will want to mine because it is something that is very useful both for building and for redstone. There's some redstone components that you actually cannot make without quartz. And I forgot how to sleep apparently. So let's put these out here. And let's switch over to our fortune pickaxe. Boy, we need to get mending sometime soon. You can see I'm getting experience from each of these. And I've gotten 17 quartz from those blocks that I put down. So let's do a few more of these. We're not going to do a ton because hopefully we'll be able at some point to upgrade this to Fortune 3 and perhaps do a little bit more efficient mining with it that way. But let's get a little bit going here so that we have it for future building endeavors. And now we can build stuff with our fortune. We'll keep the rest of those right there. You can see here, I've got a row of all the warp stuff that is going on. I've got a start of a row of the crimson stuff, our ender pearls, our lighting sources, then the ores that we find from the nether. So that is where we're starting off with the nether box, it looks like this time. All right, looks like we've gotten these. Now something I didn't show you guys last time, but I went ahead and made some, is that if you cook logs in a furnace, and having lava is a great way to do that because it's super efficient and renewable, you can turn each of the logs into charcoal, and you can use that for coal. You can use it for making torches. You cannot use it to make coal blocks, which is a unique thing you can craft with regular coal, but they can be used for cooking and for making torches. So if you're worried about maybe you're living in an area of the world where there's not a lot of coal readily available, and you start to get low, obviously you can use stuff like lava and things for cooking, but for making torches, which you kind of need all the time to be able to light and keep mobs away, you can use charcoal instead of coal if you need, and you just get that by burning logs that you find, smelting them down. I don't like going in the nether, especially when I don't know it. So I'm definitely procrastinating a little bit. So we are back in the Nether. I originally actually recorded audio as I went through this entire sequence, but apparently something was going on with my audio software and did not get my vocals. So we're going to speed things up a little bit. I kind of worked our way around where we saw that opening, kind of bridged and staircased our way up and around in order to find these other biomes that we saw in the previous segment. It looks like we are making our way over to the Basalt Delta. The Basalt Delta can be identified by the basalt blocks and the blackstone and the lava, as well as those white sort of ash particles you can see there in the air. Blackstone, by the way, is the real Nether equivalent of stone. You can actually use it for crafting stone tools and things. And basalt is a very cool building ingredient. I actually really like the polished form of it for sort of a different looking kind of log type almost. There's also a mob that spawns in the Basalt Deltas, which is the magma cubes. We haven't met a slime yet in the overworld, but the magma cube is the Nether equivalent of a slime. Looks like we got our achievement for using a bow for the first time on a creature there. And the magma cube, as you hit them, they will divide up into smaller and smaller little pieces. I did take every opportunity I could while on this trip to try to collect some resources like gold or ore. Quartz as we found it. There we go. All right, we're going to be bridging around and making our way through that gap towards where we saw the Nether waste. And it looks like waiting for us on the Nether waste is another type of mob, the ghast. They shoot these flaming projectiles. They can either just sort of shoot a fire at you or an explosive charge. They are definitely worth taking out from a distance. They do have a pretty cool drop, which has some late game uses, but unfortunately, that one just kind of disintegrated into lava. Oop, more quartz. Let's go. Let's make our way over here and check out these Nether wastes, because these are filled with several of the mobs in the Nether that we have not yet met. Going to be digging out a little there to kind of help the lava not flow directly onto us and make a little safe bridge to get across. Now, once you're in the Nether waste, you do have to be careful mining gold, because the piglins that are around, if they see you mining it, they will get very angry at you. This, however, is a zombie piglin, which are actually a passive mob. They will not hurt you unless you hurt them. And they are basically, the lore is that a piglin wandered into the overworld and got zombified. It's sort of like an infection. And they become less dangerous to you once they are zombified. It's kind of the opposite of zombies in the overworld. Now there's you can see the piglins and the zombie piglins are sort of chasing each other around. They are not friends, they are enemies. Let's see, can we toss some gold to this guy? Piglins love gold, you can see by his gold helmet there. And if you toss them an ingot of gold, they will trade you for it. And it looks like he gave us very valuable string. Yeah, not like we have a ton of that from our spider farms. Let's see, where did you go? All right, he's running away from the zombie. Let's try again. Come on, give us something useful. I was really hoping for some fire resistance potions, because those can come in handy in a lot of places here in the Nether. Blackstone, that's actually a decent trade long term, but not really what we need right at the moment. Come on, give us something unique. Leather, we have a cow farm. We don't need that, man. I do try to, when I'm using a pathway, kind of knock out any flames that are there. Just because if you start getting chased by a piglin or by a ghast, you don't want to just run into fire. You can't use water in the Nether, and it's very dangerous. All right, let's start bridging down. Looks like we got a bit of a lava lake happening down here, and of course we're leaving our little scumpuses there to find our way back. And it looks like there is a crimson forest biome just sort of on the edge of this shore of the lava lake. So we're going to make our way down there. Looks like we also have some soul sand, which we will want to get here later. So using our Silk Touch, we can grab this Crimson Nylium, which will be very useful for regrowing these red magenta trees that we find. And we have a ghast up close and personal. I remember to use my telescope this time, which means we got the achievement. Is it a balloon? No, it's not a balloon. It is a ghast. Now, one of the things you can do with the ghast besides shooting with arrows is try to play basically tennis with them with like your sword or axe and hit back their charges at them. That was a good one. You can also just hit them with your sword if they get close enough, which is usually pretty rare. They like to keep the distance. But there we go. I got the awesome achievement, Return to Cinder. And once again, the drops from them have fallen down into the lava. All right, we are made our way down. We're grabbing some of this soul sand. This will be very useful for some things we want to do in the overworld. Really glad to finally get my hands on that. It looks like we had a submarine gas peeking its way out. All right, we found our compasses to lead us back home. Whew. Let's get back to the nice sunny overworld and out of this death trap that we call the Nether. And once again, it's daytime when we've come back, which is very, very nice. All right, so here's some of our loot. You can see there the different netherrack, different ores, gold and quartz. We've got our soul soil, blackstone, basalt. We've gotten a lot of the warped plants. We have some of the crimson plants now, and we can begin to regrow these as we desire. We also have some lights there at the bottom, the glowstone and shroom lights, and all those things there. And of course, the wonderful drops that the piglin barter gave us. We also found red and brown mushrooms, which you can normally find in the overworld, but we just haven't yet, so now we have them. One of the benefits of having a cat at your house is if you free it and let it sleep on your lap when you fall asleep, sometimes they will bring you prizes. String. I don't want string. I was like, what is on top of my mountain? Is that a Yeti? It's a cow. Apparently, he lives up there now. It's kind of a pain having to come all the way back down here to use the anvil, but I'm a little shy on iron right now, and I'm trying to save some until maybe in the next couple weeks we'll be able to get an iron farm going. That won't be a concern anymore for us. All right, for the cat, the mob that won the Minecraft mob vote for 2023 that will be appearing in the 1.21 update sometime next summer, presumably, was the armadillo. I was Team Penguin, but alas, Penguin did not win. But thankfully, the stupid crab did not win either. Sorry, crab. I didn't think you were that useful, and your supporters were kind of annoying. So, yeah. All right, let's go. We got to come up with a name for our cat that has to do with the victorious mob, the armadillo. Let's think. It's not quite orange, but it's the Spanish word for yellow, which is kind of close. Armadillo. There we go. I believe we had another suggestion for the name of the goat. Alex Gorod, one of our community members, said, name it after someone that you believe is the GOAT at something. So I will name Patrick, honor of my favorite NFL quarterback. Well, remember how I said we were getting low on iron? Yeah, anvils can break. All right, let's go name these critters while I mourn the loss of our anvil. And we may have to get an iron farm going before I can replace that. All right, Mr. Goat. You are now Patrick the Goat. And let's head in the back door here into our house. I always forget there's a back door. And let's go see, in honor of the armadillo, we are naming our yellowish cat Amarillo, which is Spanish for yellow. So there we go. All right, so thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to be back with some more exploration next episode. Hopefully we'll get into the Nether a little bit more, and we'll begin working. My goal is to not only get through a lot of the Nether, kind of figure some of that stuff out, but very soon to start working with villagers, which I love. They're awesome, and I'm hoping we will have some more that we'll bring back over to our base here. We're going to have some fun with that and more building projects. We still got to finish our yard here at our house. So I'll see you guys next time. This has been Josh Gets Lost. Thank you guys so much for getting lost with me, and subscribe if you'd like to keep getting lost. Outro, and it's going to suddenly cut